Yeah, toilet.
Okay. Oh, we're live, Jeff. We're running live. Uh-oh.
Poor dad's carpet out in his living room. And then figured out where to put a subfloor in. So we started putting subfloor in today. Boys get really boring tomorrow. Put together 4 of them. We did a combination. Hopefully it won't take me too long. I'm hoping a day it'll be done. You're doing that every day.
We're gonna do something.
And we've got over at Burlington Warehouse. It's on the north end of prices. Dad ended up shopping around and doing cheap. That's what he ended up with his too. Well, we put upstairs and actually it's pretty impressive building.
Where does she have it?
Upstairs? It's mostly
Living quarters for the twins.
well, it could be. It's mostly just open. There's a whole bath, kitchen, I think we're going to put together the girls are stuff to sell there. It's actually a big part.
Yeah.
It's a big part over there. And all them plants across the road, those plants usually goes over their house and takes care of their cats the last few years. Well, this year these plants, take care of these plants. Because if they die, they die. They're just going to sit in my basement and die anyway. So she's getting money taking these plants away.
Yeah. What you chased at your speech ready? I've ordered. I don't have copies. I'm the assistant coach. I will hand out
Just hand envelopes.
enough like whatever I got to do. Yeah, so you can't. I don't think they understood what Chad was telling them. For some reason, that makes sense how they operate.
You know her parents. You know it's safe.
Well, specifically told the kids, go get some chairs, put them along the wall for parents to sit in. Not everybody tries to sit in. So not everybody can sit in. So they all get them and grab them. Sit on them themselves. Like, they block those chairs so nobody else can grab Hi, Neil, how are you?
You watch the game? All of it?
First, not every game, but for most part.
The best part is it's late on there. You can go watch it because you can watch it every year. Semifinals and finals out there. They were the better team.
Yeah.
That the defense. When they took Burris off the field, 20 cannot tackle us. So you can make a tackle and put those on the linebacker. I didn't look at the name of it. No. When he plays middle linebacker, he would get blocked every time.
I mean, she didn't play every time.
No, but for the second, when he came back later, Watts quit early. Watts was the first one that was out. And then
Diaz was the first. He didn't play for the end. Second. So who's a Watts, Diaz,
He has hurt his knee, and I never saw him after that play. He got landed on by his own guy.
Who played number 3?
That's Shear's little brother.
Okay. He wanted absolutely nothing to do with that. Yes, there was one. He ran back. Play before St. Mary's scored one of the touchdowns. Quarterback run. He's running alongside like this, watching him, and doing this and drifting away from him as he's getting tackled. And it's like
he's a sophomore, I think, right? I think he's 2 years. I think he's a sophomore, and he scored a touchdown on later on a go route. He got their last touchdown from the number 9 backup quarterback. But Burris, he never ran in the second half either.
no,
They did not run a rain.
Well, they didn't have to. He never had to run in the second half.
Their problem, in my opinion, was they just dropped back and
Yeah, but they were complete those today.
They scored 94 points, but they beat the hell out of it.
Yes, because they just kept coming and beat.
And ran 0 points.
No, because they scored in how many one
Every
play?
play they ran stopped the clock.
Either touchdown
Touchdown or an incomplete pass.
and they went quick. They never even tried to slow the game down. Yeah, that was bad coaching.
And you have 36, 60, 36. I'd never try running the ball. Yeah.
Wow. See, and the other thing that hurt them, right? They gave away 2 touchdowns, but they just dropped them back and dropped the ball. I mean, both of them scored touchdowns. I mean, that's 14 points that they lost by.
But,
And that's just those brand new balls, right?
oh, yeah. How are you going to slow blitz down if you are no threat to run the ball?
Well, see, that's what they said as well, but they just, because he could break it like he did on that third down in 18, 28, where he bust the 5 tackles when he was fresh.
They never did it. Like,
So think about it. When it was 60 to 36, final score, they outscored them 72 to
24.
34.
They cut out in the radio.
And that's halfway through the third quarter. They scored 72 points in 18 minutes.
Wow, they scored 30 points or 3 touchdowns in 39 seconds. 39 seconds. Monty had no defense at all. It's like I said, Burris was the one making tackles earlier in the game. Shear, though, played a hell of a job at D-back. I'm going to show some of his knockdowns and the way he played.
He had
our guy.
The line is non-existent.
Yeah, I'd say that was the problem.
Non-existent.
They had nobody.
And even him he wouldn't get in that
No,
much.
I'd say he didn't make plays. He was at least
Pressure and the guy to make him
quarterback off the
push.
spot.
Yes.
They ran.
I did not impress that quarterback to impress me.
They ran that lead rollout with the guy over the top.
Did you see
They could have ran that every play.
Did you see where they run the guy by? They roll this way, they throw back.
Yeah, the jet,
My play.
and then they ran the.
Tony, no one covers the
They
jet.
ran the motion flat.
Yeah, that was the first 2 point I said. That's my play too. You run, break the hand off, you run the motion, and you come running, flip it out there.
Test the mic. Chase, text the mic, will you? Shake the mic. Try the mic. Can you hear me? I need to know if they can. So just it'll be about 20-second delay, and then see if they can if they heard the test. They're good. Can you hear me, man? No, you're fine. Hey, Chase, you're good. I need that so this picks it up. If it's too loud for the football players, they can move a little. Oh, then you gotta plug it in. It's just not plugged in then. Any luck? You hear me?
Did they see him try to test it? Okay, I'll go. They're probably not talking yet there.
Can you hear this? Hello? Hello?
Wow, this is different. Thanks for coming. I know this is an unusual situation, and maybe we could have put everybody in the main gym and just live streamed the whole thing and had enough, but we just decided to go this way, sort of separate it, try to keep numbers down as low as possible. It's been a good year. From the varsity standpoint, 3-5 is not a great record, but I'm just happy we got to play. I know you get all the time. These guys did a lot of stuff that we asked them that they weren't used to. I saw guys all summer, and they were together, and they were always not a part at all. We asked them to do some things to start the year to really separate. We dressed at separate times. JV and varsity went 2 different times at 15, went to practice late. Some left practice early. We did all kinds of things, just to try to make sure it worked. We got away from some of that stuff, but we stayed as a team. I thought we did a really nice job of that. The day of our playoff game, we lost 2 starters to contact tracing, and we had practice that morning, and without even asking, every one of them had a mask on. Everyone that showed up that morning had a mask on. I think that said a lot that they wanted to play and how much they needed each other. I am going to right now go check to make sure that the other gym's working. And so while it is, okay, I don't have to leave. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with our managers. Do we have any managers here? I saw you. Okay, so let's bring our managers up. We had 4 managers this year. I did 3 managers and a filmer. Noah wouldn't consider himself a manager because he was a filmer, but he helped the managers out too. Jacayla Bradenberg and JC Miller, they probably had the worst of all of this COVID stuff of anybody. They had to come to practice, and while the boys didn't have to wear masks at practice, these 2 did. Because state requirements said every time they filled a water bottle, they had to be masked up and gloves on. Every one of those guys had their own individual water bottles. You've seen them all, they decorated them, whatever. They had to keep them all straight. And then they had to deal with the coach that thought they took too long to get water because we wanted to continue with practice. That probably was the hardest part, right? When I was yelling at you guys, hey, let's go quicker, let's go quicker. But no, they did a really nice job. And you'll hear this a lot, but one of the best things about these two is that they're both juniors and they're both able to come back next year. And we're going to say that a lot about the guys over there too. We're really excited about what we have coming back, and these two are a big part of that. Let's give them a round of applause. You stay up here and watch if you want the whole time. You can stay here, you can sit back down if you. That's what I thought. Right. We'll start with freshmen, and we'll just flip those back over. There you go. Just have one at a time. Noah Conley. Noah's not a freshman. We'll start with sophomores. Noah Conley, still not here. Noah played offensive line and defensive line on the JV team. Did a nice job for us, and hopefully we'll get him back out next year and continue some more. Brian Ackerman. Brian's a kid that we finally got out. I've been working on Brian for about 2 or 3 years. I know, I normally shake your hand, but I'm not supposed to. We'll put this on the internet, so I'm not going to say, oh, you got to stay like that here, yeah. I've been trying to get Brian out for about 3 years. He's a sophomore, even in 8th grade, we tried to get him out. 9th grade, having a class, tried to get him out, and he finally came out this year. I'm super glad he did. He played offensive line and defensive line. He really started to pick up the offense at the end. He might not say that, but I think I saw that in him, and he's going to be able to help us next year as he gets more accustomed to football. Cole Hildebrand. Cole played center for us on the JV. He also played defensive line for us. Did a very nice job. So we got thrown into a bad situation where he had to, Friday morning before a playoff game, got told, hey, you're going to start center for us. Did a nice job. You know, for a sophomore to step in with no varsity experience and step in that situation, I thought he did a really good job. Defensively, JV-wise, I thought he was all over the ball. I wasn't on the sideline, I was up in the stands announcing. And it seemed like I was calling his name quite a bit. I was impressed with how he played there. Jacob Stauffer. You're going to hear this a lot from this class. It's a big class. Jake was also offensive and defensive lineman. Jacob's best attribute is he just goes hard. He flies all over the place. He wants to go hard. Sort of like Brian, doesn't have a whole lot of football experience. As soon as he gets more of that, and as he keeps building next year, he's really going to help us pull that out. Dylan Lopez. This is Dylan's first year out. Dylan was a manager last year. Tell me one of you two is going to play next year. Right. Dylan managed last year. He decided to come out this year. He also was an offensive and defensive lineman for us. Did a real nice job in practice. Didn't get a lot of JV time, got some. But was one of those kids that in practice, he was always willing to go in and give some scout team reps and help the team get better. Peyton Miller. Another first-year player. I'm excited to tell you this stuff. I love these guys that are coming out. Peyton Miller played offensive line and defensive line for us. Defensive end in scout team. You can ask Drew Gears how those collisions went. Peyton would come off the end and Drew would be trying to kick him out, and I know we're not supposed to say this one with concussions and stuff, but it would be like two billy goats on a bridge trying to hit each other. And, you know, he did a great job there. Offensively, I thought at guard he did a nice job. He doesn't believe that, but he did. He's learned the offense a little better. And just like him and Brian and these other guys, next year as juniors, I really see them flourishing. Simeon Reichenbach. Simeon got to play one half of JV. He played D-back, linebacker, wide receiver, and running back at the varsity level. He did a really nice job for us as our kicker. He, I don't think he led the conference, but he was close to leading the conference in touchbacks. When we missed him for kicking for 2 games, it really showed because the touchback is such a dangerous weapon for us. Offensively, he would just make kids miss. You watch on film and you think, oh, he's going to get tackled, and he'd make a move and make kids miss. Defensively, one of our surest tacklers, he'd come up, and if he was there, he was going to make the tackle. Did a really nice job on that, and we'll really have a big year next year. Ty Egley. Ty didn't get to come tonight. Ty had to go home after school. Ty played defensive end and tight end for us on the JV. Was on some special teams at the varsity level. Did a nice job catching the ball. And defensive dog did a nice job keeping contained and playing a solid defensive end for us. Drew Deers. Drew played linebacker and running back on the JV level and linebacker for us on the varsity level. About week 3 or 4, he started playing varsity at linebacker for us and just never gave up the spot. Another one of those kids like Simeon that's a sure tackler. When he gets there, he's going to make a tackle. As soon as he continues to read on every play, he is going to be really good at inside backer for us. He also runs the ball really hard. If you watched on our JV games, did a really nice job of running our off tackle play. Cody Gray. Cody played tight end. He played on a weak tight end, or W, and a cornerback for us. You don't always think this, but as big as Cody is, Cody was an incredible cover guy. When we would go scout team offense and run skeleton against him, he was always right there. And I kept saying, Mark, well, just go by him, go people, and he'd be there too. So it's just a matter of getting some time. We have some guys ahead of him. Some of our seniors are leaving. He's going to help us out at corner. He has really good hands, not really good hands, but good hands at tight end. He's going to get better at that, right? Yeah. And can help us out there. And with Cody's size, and he keeps getting bigger, that tight end will come into a blocking part for us also. Isaac Oswald. These are all sophomores still. I know you know that you're the parents, but there's a lot of sophomores here. Isaac played quarterback for us on the JV level, and also played D-back. He didn't get a lot of D-back time on JV because we had so many kids that we ran kids on both sides. He did a really nice job at quarterback. I honestly can't remember a quarterback that I've had here in 20 years that throws as good a ball as Isaac does. It's a quick release, it's sharp, it's fast, it's to the guy, it's accurate. Next year, we got some thinking to do where our offense is going to be. If he continues working with Winter and throws the ball like that, our offense might look a lot more like it did a couple years ago than it did this year. I think it was a really nice job at quarterback. Mason Miller. Mason played D-back. He was our first sub, varsity-wise at D-back. So if Zach or Will would get injured or need a break or something, Mason was the first guy to go in. And he did a really nice job of covering. I think he led the team in interceptions. He had 2, right? And I know 2's not a ton, but I think he led the team in interceptions with 2. Did a very nice job of covering the corner. Offensively, JV wise, he played our X, our slot guy. He'd run our jet sweep. He would also run some good routes. He's another one that's going to help us. A lot of these sophomores are going to play a lot next year. Braden Spank. Braden was the another part of that slot JV receiver. Braden and Mason ran plays in, and with John, we'll get down there. Braden is another one. I'll give you a second. Get no place to stay. Braden turned into one of our surest tacklers. I don't know what it was, about week 4, Braden decided he was going to tackle. And it didn't matter if it was scout team, it was JV, if it was, and actually might have tackled before JV. I didn't see a lot of the first couple of JV games. But he's a tackler. So we sort of had a combo there. When we wanted a cover guy, we went with Mason. He got a couple picks for us. When we needed a tackle guy, we went with Braden. Both of them are going to be very good in the defensive backfield for us. And I think we're going to get a lot more athletic as we get bigger. John McLaughlin. Jeremy back. You don't stay there, we'll wait. Hang on. Let's wait for your dad. Brian Neal. Brian's not here. Okay. Brian was our backup running back on JV. He was also a backup linebacker. Brian's not the biggest guy in the world, which made it a little tougher for him at linebacker, but another one of these kids that just goes hard. I was very impressed with our entire JV group on how hard they went, how active they were in practice, and when they got into JV games. Colton McNeil. Colton played defensive end and tight end for us at the JV level. At the varsity level, he played defensive end also. He got worked into our lineup in the playoff game because of the fact that Tyler couldn't play. And he turned out and led us in tackles. He had 9 tackles in the game, and led us in tackles against New London that night. Showed that he's ready to step up next year as a sophomore and probably get some more varsity time. And I've coached several of his brothers. I think he will fill out and be a good blocker in rookie too. John McLaughlin. Now you can get it. No problem. John played the X receiver with Mason and Braden. They ran plays in on the JV. And as you can see with John, John's biggest thing is he's got to get bigger. He tries to tackle. I still remember playing, it's one of those you don't like. But he met Joel in the hole in practice one night, and he wasn't going to back down. He was going to make the tackle. He was right there. He did a nice job of it, and he just has to keep playing. He's relatively inexperienced at football, and I think as he gets more used to it and get bigger, he's going to be able to help us. He's one that's going to help us on the JV a lot next year. Reese Heisel. No, Reese isn't here tonight. Reese played safety for us on JV. He was our backup quarterback. He didn't want to play quarterback, but that's okay because I wanted Isaac to play. He also the tailback. Reese was one that wanted to play defense, and he didn't want to make it sound like he wanted to play, but he did, and he was really good. Right? He did a great job at our nickel safety coming downhill in the JV games and filling the run lane and making tackles where he's supposed to go. It's one of those things that, as he gets more time, I keep saying this, but he is so young. As we get more time, he's really going to step into a big role there, and he's also going to help us offensively. And probably not a quarterback, probably a wide receiver or running back, and gives us a chance to be more explosive. Chase Waterhouse. Chase missed some time at the beginning of the year, which, it happened this year. When he came back, he was a linebacker and offensive lineman for us on the JV level. He helped us in special teams on the varsity level. Really does a nice job of getting places. Getting places. He knows that when he gets there, he's going to make a tackle. At linebacker, he fills holes. He gets there. At offensive lineman, he gets to his guy and makes the block. He's still a little stringy, right? He's still a little tall. As we get him a little more physical in the weight room and stuff, he's really going to fill out those 2 positions. Right? So this is our JV group. I do. Oh, Jonathan Head is not here. He was an offensive lineman, defensive lineman for us. Freshman. He got some good size for us, and as he gets more athletic and more training, he will help us out a lot. Okay? Now, I don't think Coach West knows this, but I didn't coach these guys a whole lot during games. Right? I up in the press box, I watched, I let them call, I let these four over here coach them. So I'm going to let Coach Matt talk about the JV season a little. As you can see, we had some pretty darn good numbers this year. And because we had such darn good numbers, we were able to get some practice time by ourselves. And then we've done that the last 2 years, and it's showed. And it's like I told these guys in the huddle after the last game, especially the freshmen, from day one till the end of the season, the improvement that they made, and my exact words were, holy cow. It was incredible to watch. These guys were fun to coach. I can remember one time we were at home. I'm looking at my play sheet, call a play. Braden's mate goes up and goes, Coach, I'm feeling the jet sweep. I think I can score. So I go, okay, what's from the jet sweep? He scored. It was that kind of attitude that we had all year long. These guys had fun playing, and it showed out on the field. 4-2 is a pretty darn good record. So keep up the good work. Get in the weight room. I say that every year. Get in the weight room. Get bigger. Get stronger. Get faster. And look out next year. Okay, you guys sit down. While they're sitting down before we do the upper class, while they sit down before we go to the classroom, see, I'm not used to this. We always go last, and I always sit over on the side, and while I listen to the other coaches speak, I take out my clipboard, and I write down all the things that I'm going to say. And I didn't do that tonight, but there are some thank yous I got to make. Our chain crew, we only had 2 home games, but Gary Messer, Jeff Eubanks, Ryan Davis, and Michael Shoemaker did our chain crew for us in 2 games. They always do a great job. Actually, they did such a great job this year. And it's only 2 home games, but it's from reputation. They were nominated by officials' crews to work the championship game next Thursday at the Dome. So even though we don't get to go to it because of restrictions, they will be there. So if you watch on TV and you can see the change from those 4, we work in the championship game of 8-man next year. Our press box crew. Paul Kissel's our announcer. He's in the volleyball right now. Does a great job, except when he starts making stories up about me. Bert Hammond, Neil Reichenbach run our clock. Michael Sussman helps with that. Frank Witten is our spotter. Those guys do a great job for me. I don't have to worry about it. They show up, they work it. Our Warrior Cast crew, so when people can't make it, they still get to listen at home. I know it's Taylor the ball, and whoever he happens to get to work with him. Nick did one, I think, and Scott Lucas did a couple, and then on the road, Paul Kissel does that, takes Mr. Witten with him, Frank Witten with him. They do a nice job. Rick Mormon's my fall AD. He takes care of all my volleyball stuff, so I don't have to. So I can just concentrate on football, which really helps out. I'm sure I'm forgetting a bunch. These 4 guys here, they really help out. I can help out. I lean on them a lot. They won't say that offensively. They say offensively if they want me to run something, they got to tell me like 4 weeks in advance, so I can think it's my idea when I put it in. It might be that way, I don't know. But they do a lot. You know, they come every Sunday. We get ready for it. They do a great job coaching. Actually, one of my favorite times in practice is the 20 minutes that we do defensive individual time, because I don't coach. These 4 take the 4 defensive positions. They go coach it, and I step back and I watch them, and I watch the enjoyment that they have. I mean, they like being out there. They enjoy being with their kids. It's fun. You know, I got to thank Jason and Chase's wives. We do quite a bit. We do ask them to be here quite a bit, so they are away from home a lot. I thank my wife Amy. She's the same way. I'm not going to will yet. So I just want to say thanks to everybody that helped. I'm sure I missed a bunch. I want to thank the parents that made us food for the road trips home. Boy, that was so much nicer trying to stop someplace and kill an hour. I think the kids appreciated it. That was really good. Every Saturday morning after our varsity games, we had optional films. You didn't have to go. You didn't want to get up and have to. But if you did come in, we'd watch films, we'd have some donuts, we'd sit around. We always had great turnouts. The kids enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It was a fun way to watch. We tried to find a better way to watch our game films. By the time we got to Monday afternoon, myself as a coach was always looking to the next team already. I wanted to go to the next team. I didn't want to watch what we did. I wanted to get to the next team. And I thought it was a good way for us to coach and teach the kids while it was still fresh in our mind. And we'll probably continue that. That was a good addition to us this year. Right? So we'll start with our juniors. Jonah Clark. Jonah played running back and linebacker start of the year, and by the end of the year we moved to defensive end some. Was a very versatile player for us. Another good tackler, really good tackler. I know we gave some points this year, but if you would see the stride, and you have, because you watched this the last couple of years, but if you see the strides that we have made in tackling over the last couple of years, it really shows, I think. And we're going to get better at tackling, because as these younger kids come up and we get leadership on agility and stuff here, we will have better tackling and we'll have better defense. You know, we only gave up 52 points to Montezuma. Montezuma scored 98 today. The only problem was Renton St. Mary scored 108. So if you didn't see that, Montezuma got beat today 108 to 94 in the first semifinal game. So that's crazy. If you thought it was a long game, it was 4 hours and 10 minutes. 4 hours and 10 minutes for a high school football game. Tyler Sutton. Dang. I looked at Taylor when he came. I missed it. I got the number right. I just didn't get the face right. And I would say by the end of next year, I'll have those 2 sets right, but I won't. And I tell them all the time, I still call Trey and Will the wrong name, and they're not even close to the same size. So, Tyler played defensive end for us, also played strong guard, did a great job. A very intellectual ball player. And what I mean by that is he played strong guard, but he also backed up weak guard. He played some backup tight end. Well, he wanted this backup tight end. We didn't get him there a whole lot. We could move him wherever we wanted, and he knew what to do, and that was really helpful to us. Was one of our best, if not our best, defensive linemen. Did a great job of keeping contained on any runs outside to him, and had a great motor. Was always following to get the ball. Zach Schmitz. Zach was our W, which is our weak tight end, and our corner. Even though I'm the offensive guy, I'm talking about defense here. Zach, once again, I don't know about week 3 or 4, decided tackling was okay, because Zach really started tackling really well at that time. You know, he wasn't a guy that was going to light you up and come running at you and blow you up, but he was going to be in the right spot, and if you were close enough to him, he was going to make the tackle, and he was going to get you down. He did a great job of that. He got more yards on the 5-yard stop route than any receiver we've ever had. He did a great job of catching the ball with his hands and making that first guy miss. And it might not be missed for a big game, but he's going to miss enough that he can get the first down. I don't know how many times we had 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, and I was perfectly fine running a stop to Zach because he was going to catch it for the first down. He did a really nice job. Taylor Sutton. Taylor played center and linebacker for us. He also backed up weak guards. We backed his brother up at weak guard. We could slide him out to weak tight end again if we needed to. We didn't do that hardly ever, but we could have. He would have known the place. At linebacker, he went where he needed to be. He understood the defense. He got us lined up right, and he got us to the right spot. Once again, one of those guys, that continues to go hard every play. And I say this over and over, this was a fun group to coach. These guys did a lot of that. Vincent Jones. This was Vincent's first year out. He played tight end for us. Defensively, he played defensive end. Didn't get a lot of defensive end time, but played a lot of tight end for us. Only got one catch, or two. One catch that counted, and the 2-point conversion doesn't actually count in catches. So when you look at the stat book, you only have one catch on the year. But you do get a 2-point conversion. Did a really nice job for being his first year out as a junior. As he continues to play more and understand the feet aspect of it, Vince has really, really good feet. All right, he can move, you see it on the basketball court, and when he starts understanding a little more on how his feet move and how his feet can get him in the right position, he's going to be really good for us. Bryce Ackerman. Bryce is another first-year player. This was a great trend. I think we had 4 or 5, maybe 6 first-year players. Bryce played lead guard on offense, not a lot, but some. But his main position was nose guard for us, defensive tackle in there, went to a 4-man front. Did a nice job of it. He still gets off the ball a little high, a big guy, hasn't played a lot of football. But as soon as he starts staying low and just started back at the end of the year, he played some of the playoff game for us, got some time in a couple of last games. But when he stays low and gets in the backfield, he's going to be able to cause some trouble. He's going to be a big help for us. John Rice. John's not here. John played running back on offense. He was a big physical runner. He likes to run downhill. He had the misfortune of getting hurt, breaking a hand in week 3 against Lone Tree, and was out for several weeks, and then we got him back towards the end in time for the playoffs. He did a nice job for us. Tim Willis. Tim played strong guard for us, and also played defensive end and defensive tackle. We moved him around quite a bit. Tim, Tyler, and Taylor were probably the smartest 3 offensive linemen that I've ever had line up next to each other together. We could do a lot offensively in terms of pulling and cross-blocking and pulling and trying to adjust to things because those 3 understood football so well. He does a great job of getting where he needs to go. The only thing Tim needs to work on is finishing blocks. So we talk about this all the time. He gets the guy, he gets there, and then he just got to finish the blocking. And he will, because Tim has that little streak in him that makes good football players. And I don't want to say he's dirty, but he's got a mean streak. And he can, if he wants to go, he can be really, really, really good. Right? And so we just got to find a way to put that switch on so he goes every play. And then we'll be really good next year. Right? So Tim's going to help us, and this group here is going to help us lead us next year. Okay? We have 4 seniors only in this year. We only have 2 here, so I'm going to talk about the 2 that weren't here first. Okay? Landon Rubino. Landon started out late with us. They had a little trouble getting to practice at times. Once he got here, he is very good. He would go hard. He would always tell you he was ready to go. I mean, he was a very confident person. He did a great job of getting where he needed to be. And it's just a matter of he needed to work on his time management a little. Colt Conley played split end for us, and tight end, but when we went to a spread set, he played split end. Had really, really good hands. I don't remember too many balls that we threw to him that he actually dropped. A couple of practice he did, and he was totally upset with himself. He run a little dig route, we run a 10-yard dig route, and he would catch it every time. It was a big play for us on 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. We could get that dig route. He was a 2-year player only, so I wish he would have came out earlier, but he did a nice job for us as a senior. Chance Miller. Chance was a 2-year player for us. He's another one of these I wish we came earlier, but we got his brother out quicker, right? Chance played D tackle and offensive lineman. He did not play offensive lineman very much. He did not like offensive lineman. I walked out of practice one day and I said, Chance, do you like offense at all? Do you want to play that more? And he literally just looked at me you can't see it now. He actually looks like he's grinning. He just looked at that straight face and goes, no, not really. And so, and then he had to play the last game every down because we just had to. But defensive tackle-wise, did a really, really nice job for us. If you watch on tape, it's just what he said. He gets into his guy, he finds the ball, he made numerous tackles on the sideline as he was chasing ball carriers down. I actually think most of his assisted tackles were on the sideline as he hit into his guy, read the ball, followed it, and took off and got there. He's one we're going to miss next year. He was a big part of our defensive line. Our last one, Willie. Will played quarterback for us. He played defensive back. He played some safety, mostly corner. He was our leading rusher with just under 500 yards, which that's going to have to change next year. We got to have a leading rusher with more than 500 yards. He was our leading passer. He played corner, he played safety. Will's biggest thing was he always wanted to make the big hit, so he didn't always tackle, always go and try to make the big hit, which in practice worked, in game it did it some. His probably biggest fault was the fact that his dad was the coach. I probably was tougher on him. I thought that other people. We'll stop there. Thank you, Will. While we got these guys up here, there's a couple things. Where's that? I need that pad. Last year I forgot to do this, so I need to read this to make sure I got it. This is all in your kids' packet, so if you want to see this, you'll see it. We had 6 kids receive all district honors. We had Jonah Clark was honorable mention, defensive utility. Taylor Sutton was honorable mention, offensive lineman. Yes, got that right. Taylor was honorable mention. Actually, I should have known that because our 2 second-team players, Tyler Sutton was second-team defensive line. Zach Smith was second-team wide receiver. We had two first-team members. Simeon, come back up here. Simeon was first-team defensive utility. And Will was first-team offensive utility. I'll say this, I think those two, all of them, but when we voted, we have our vote at our all-district meeting, we didn't receive a lot of first-team votes. But when we got to offense and defensive utilities, those two both led the ballot. There were 5 or 6 kids up for each, and they both led the ballot. I thought that showed well the whole team, not just those two, because they didn't have flashy stat numbers that would have got them as a running back or as a quarterback or as a D-back or whatever. But the other coaches respected the fact that they were a big part of this team, and they deserve some recognition. And same with the other 4. I mean, they did a really nice job, and they got that all-district honors. We also had 25 members of the academic all-district. Right, you had to have a 3.4 grade point average or above during the first quarter. All right, so I'm going to read these to make sure. Now, we had some cheerleaders, and they're not in here right now, well, some of them are. You guys can stand up. You guys can come out again if I call your name. Grace Cole was our statistician. I didn't say anything about Grace. She's next door, but she was our statistician. She was on it. Jonah Clark, Drew Deers, Will Eater, Ty Eckley, Alyssa Furtick, Grace Ford, Cody Graber, Lydia Hesseltine, Cole Lipke, JC Miller, Mason Miller, Isaac Oswald, Simeon Reichenbach, Bailey Rice, Noah Rich, Taylor Simmons, Zach Schmitz, Taylor Sutton, Tyler Sutton, and Chase Waterhouse. All those guys were academic all district. That's just incredible. Get them around first, I'll say something. We had that many. We were second. I hate to say this, we lost them to Winco. Winco had a couple more kids than us, but there were teams that had 5, maybe 6 kids that made academic all district. For us to have 25 of these guys make academic all district, I think that's really good and very impressive. I guess I don't have a whole lot more to say. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate the parents and all the work they did to help you guys get here. I appreciate these guys. I appreciate our senior class, but there were only 4 of them, which means of our 31 players we had out, that means we have 27 coming back next year. That is absolutely awesome. Right? We throw in some more freshmen that are going to come up and help with this group, or 8th graders now that come up, and we're going to be right at the 33, 34 kids again. It gives us enough to play varsity in one area, JV get practice on the other, and we keep improving. I tell you what, we have really started to improve our skills when we were able to separate and go separate practices. I think they did a really nice job of that, and that comes from our 4 coaches really working hard with kids and getting them to improve. I don't have anything else, so I appreciate you guys coming, and we'll see you guys all next year. I'm sorry, you want to say anything? Okay.
I know. Yep. Going to be good stuff.
Where's my lunch?
Elsa.